So remember, the idea of safety in the laboratory is to avoid contact of hazardous chemicals with you, with your skin or your eyes, and or ingestion for yourself or for others or the environment. And so one of the worst ways that you can have chemicals come into contact with you is to breathe them. And so now and then you'll be using chemical reactions or chemical reagents that are volatile, meaning they make gases that escape and that are hazardous. And some examples of this are concentrated hydrochloric acid, or concentrated sulfuric acid, or concentrated ammonia that you want to not breathe. And so what we have for that is we have fume hoods. And so fume hoods are essentially safety cabinets where air comes in from outside and circulates in this box and then is drawn back outside. And if you open up this window here, it's called a sash. What happens is the safety cabinet, the hood is designed to have a negative pressure compared to the air in the room, so it brings air in. And there's a drawing of air of roughly 80 cubic feet per minute that comes from in here to out there. And so when you're working with things that you should not be breathing, and your instructor will tell you when you'll be doing that, you should be doing that in the fume hood, and they'll let you know when you do that. When you do this, you treat this space as a common lab bench because not everybody has their own fume hood. So when you come in, make sure it's clean, just like you do for your lab bench, and when you leave working here, you make sure it's clean, just like your lab bench. Also, when you're done, close the sash, because if the sash is open, it drags more air out of the room and then out the roof of the building, which it's not a safety hazard, but it costs money because we lose heat, particularly during the winter on a snowy day like today. Now let's talk about minimizing the exposure of our chemical compounds that we're using with the environment. We don't want to have the chemicals that we're using be leaked into the environment. And so the main way we do that is by collecting our hazardous waste, our chemical hazardous waste. And there really are two kinds of those. There's liquids and there's solids. Solids will go into a container. It's kind of like a big mayonnaise jar that will be put out by your instructor and for you to put any solid waste that you have. A little trickier to handle is liquid waste. So liquid waste goes into a container, and I'll show you how that works. So in the hood, fume hood, is a bottle like this that has a locking lid that you open up and lock it to hold open while you pour things. This should never be left open overnight. It's okay to leave it open while you're doing your hazardous waste transfer into here, and then these are collected by the hazardous waste staff and handled properly. The most important rule for you is that you should never throw any waste in the garbage or down the sink without being instructed that that's okay by your instructor. So generally your instructor will tell you what waste goes where.